Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So one of the biggest questions I had when I first started writing or first trying to pursue it as a career was how on earth do I make money writing? And I always thought for the longest of times that there was only one way to make money, and that was through publishing books. And I thought this for so long, but it's simply not true. There are lots of ways that writers can make money now, particularly with the internet. So in this video what we're going to talk about is a little bit about publishing books, as it is a good way to make money, but we're also going to cover some of the other ways that you can make money, particularly if you're a newer writer or starting out. So let's do this! Okay, so let's start with a bit that everybody knows about, and that is publishing books. This is generally the format that it's going to follow. You're going to write a book, you're going to find an agent. Your agent is going to find a publisher, your publisher is going to go through rounds of edits and cover drafts, and then eventually there'll be a book that goes on sale. Now you make money in this method through royalties. You are given a percentage of the profits every time you sell a book. Generally, with bigger businesses, it will not be above 15%, and in fact 15% would be considered rather large. You certainly won't get this if you're new or starting out or don't have a proven fan base or track record with publishing books. You can expect a lot lower than this. Now, generally speaking, bigger companies will also take your film rights, translation rights, first refusal rights and merchandising rights, and quite a few others. So when you get that first publishing contract, be aware of all of the things that you're signing over to do with your book so that you know where you stand. Now obviously the other route for book publishing is self-publishing books, and in that you retain all control, but you also have to do all of the work yourself. So there are pros and cons for each different type of publishing, but it's important to remember that both kinds of publishing are both valid. Both kinds of publishing both produce good books, both produce bad books, and one is not better than the other. It depends on what works for you. For smaller companies or independent companies, they can do things in different ways. Just remember that you are supposed to be receiving the money, you're not supposed to be paying if you have a publisher and you're not self-publishing. Just keep that in mind. Now I have some experience with self-publishing because I've recently set up a publishing company, my own publishing company, Glass Slipper Publications. Now, I did this for a number of reasons, but mostly because I was kind of tired with how the publishing community treated new and young writers, particularly young writers, people that hadn't had a chance to sell their work yet, people that hadn't had a chance to build a fan base. If you aren't a proven track record, people generally tend not to go through your stuff. But before I went down the setting up my own publishing company route, I did go down the small publishing house track, and I did fall for a number of scams or misrepresentations. So you need to be really careful when doing this, to do your research properly, look for good reviews and understand what you're getting into. That being said, I have now tried self-publishing and have decided to set up my own small publishing house. So if you are interested in learning what a reasonable self-publishing budget should look like, what you need to do, all of those different things that's particularly for self-publishers, I will absolutely do that in another video. Just leave all of your questions in the comment section so that I know what to address in that video. However, in this video we are going to try and not focus on publishing novels and books. We're going to think about the other ways that you can make money as a writer. But now I am a very proud owner of a small publishing company, and I one day hope to make it my full-time job. Anyway, so we've gone on a bit of a tangent, but let's get back into it. So how can you make money as a writer without publishing novels? Because it's a long process, and you've got to be able to make money in between that. And there are lots of different methods, particularly young and new writers can do to get out there, get some experience and sell their work. One of my favourite ways to make money as a writer is to sell short stories. There are magazines and apps and people out there that are clamouring for people to write them short stories. But you need to be smart about how you do this. Some people want you to write a story for them but then give up all your rights to it. There's no name on it, no claiming it in the future. So be aware of what you are handing over and what you're signing up to when you submit a short story for consideration. That being said, these can pay really well. You've also got to remember that some apps or magazines may want it in a strange format. They may want it as a text or as a blog or as a series of comments on Facebook. So it's a great way to explore different mediums of communicating a story, a great way to try different styles and techniques and sort of hone how you want to write and hone the sort of genres and things that you're interested in. I think it's really great. It also pays really rather well. There are some magazines that will pay up to £500 for a really good short story. So I think it's a really good way for authors to start gaining some experience, gaining some cash for their efforts. So it's definitely one that I would consider and recommend rather highly. It's great if you have an endless library of short stories, which I actually had when I started out doing this. And of course you can't sell the same story to more than one person. So once you've sold it, I moved it to a separate sold folder so I know that I can't sell it again. But at the same time, it's a really great way to make some money, and it was how a few of my friends and I made money through university. People would make £200, £300 just from selling 20,000 words. So it's a really great way to sort of build capital for either publishing your own novel or for paying rent or other things like that. But it's also important to remember that it is not guaranteed work. It is not the same as being an employee. So some months you may get lots of sales, some months you may get none. So it's a great way to add to your income, but I wouldn't recommend it as a stable source of income. Another way that you can make money is by proofreading other people's work. And this can be anything from scientific journals to fantasy epics to children's novels. Whatever it is, if you're an English speaker or as good as, you can proofread other people's work. And the more you do it, the more you can charge for doing it. If you're brand new, you can set lower prices and people on smaller budgets will come to you, and eventually you'll gain enough experience and enough exposure and you can start upping your prices. It's also a really good way for writers to get exposure to lots of different genres, writing styles and different techniques that they might also adopt for their own writing further down the line. All you have to do in this process is read, which for a writer should sound like absolute heaven. All you've got to do is correct a few spelling mistakes here and there, pull out a few awkward words and correct some grammar, and boom, you could be 50 quid, 60 quid, 70 quid richer. There is no downside to this. Another way that a writer could be paid is for reviews. Now, I am not saying that you should be paid by the author that wrote the book to deliberately give a good review. That's bad, that's dishonest, and in the end will hurt your image. What I'm saying is that you can give reviews. There are Amazon reviewer programs and other such platforms around. If you've read the book in your free time anyway, what does it hurt to give a review and maybe gain 20 quid, maybe gain 30 quid, whatever it is that's the going rate. You may need to build up a reputation, you may even want to start a blog reviewing books. That's a really good way to get exposure and maybe earn a little bit of extra cash. I particularly like this method if you don't have a lot of spare time and you don't want to sacrifice any of your reading time. I'm one of those people as well. I protect my reading time because it's one of my ways to de-stress. So if you've read the book anyway, it only takes maybe half an hour to write a review. So this could be a really good way to earn a little bit of extra cash without putting in too much time. Another thing you can do, this is less writing, but if you have a following of say 500 people or more on a blog, or you've got social media followings, then you can promote. Again, I'm not saying promote anything, make sure you're promoting a good product, because at the end of the day you don't want to hurt your brand or your image. But still, you may want to consider promoting books and authors that you really like. You may gain more followers doing that. Think about different ways that you can make money doing that. But if an author sends you a free copy of something, or you've already read the book and you think, actually, yeah, that was a really good book, a really good product, people should know about it because I really enjoyed it, then there's no harm in promoting it. Again, make sure that you're picky, and for the sake of not hurting your following or your brand, you should absolutely disclose that you've been paid to promote it. But that way, if you disclose that you've been paid to promote it, but you're only promoting good stuff, your readers will trust you. There are lots of other ways that you can make money writing as well. You can teach a course, you can start up a class, you could write a jingle, write advertisements, write for websites, be a guest blogger. There are lots of different things that you can do to write. What is really worth doing is actually doing a Google search, because there are lots of different things will come up, different opportunities, and they'll change from day to day. So if you're thinking that none of the ones that I detailed earlier are for you, Google it, because I guarantee there is almost definitely something out there for you to do. It may not be what you want, but it may be something that you can adapt to make yours. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed this video and that you found it useful. If you did, please hit the subscribe button and the thumbs up. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comment section down below or on any of my social media platforms, and I will try to get back to you as soon as I can. I hope that you've enjoyed this video and that you guys have a wonderful week. I'm H.T.King, and I'll see you next time. Bye!